Call. DT, proud to be with you inside of the Cafe Kubal studios, hanging out here where sports meets that thing called life. And, of course, on Facebook.com/WakeUpCallDT, Facebook.com/LiveNowDT, and YouTube.com/WakeUpCallDT. However you're tuning into the show, thank you so much for being a part of it. Thank you for your patience today. I had to fan off the computer down here. We went hot for 3 hours yesterday, so happy to be here with you. Give you an extra hour yesterday. Under promise, over deliver is what I'm about here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora every Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time. And once the show goes live, you can catch it in the archives, Stitcher, Spotify, TuneIn, MixLR, YouTube, iTunes, and Apple Podcasts, Podbean, and iHeartRadio, among others. All you have to do to find the show is search your favorite place by going to any one of those podcasting outlets and typing in Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, or simply Wake Up Call DT as one word. So thank you to everybody that has done that. Shout out to all of our fantastic partners in this community of Central and Upstate New York: Cafe Kubal, Carvel DeWitt, the Wildcat Sports Pub, Victory Sports Medicine and Orthopedics, Avicoli's, Chick-fil-A Cicero, and Chick-fil-A Clay, K9 Camp Dog Daycare, Mother's Cupboard, K9 Campground Dog Boarding, PB&J's Lunchbox, Pizza Man, Honda City, the Millhouse Market, Progressive Dental, Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory, and of course, our multimedia marketing partnership that officially started yesterday with the Lemoyne College Dolphins. So, whew, that was a long list of great people, and you should come out and see them here in Central and Upstate New York, whether it's going out and looking for a car, grabbing a slice, grabbing a cup of coffee, dropping your dog off, going and seeing a game, whatever it may be. These wonderful people in our community not only have been with us for a long time, they navigated with us through the last 18 months. And so it is imperative now more than ever to give back to them and understand that a little goes a long way. Inside the Ma and Pa's Popcorn.com's What's Poppin', Papa Joe, he popping first. Every Thursday from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. Eastern Time. We have a lot of Jaguars topics. You know, thank goodness for Urban Meyer getting himself in trouble. The Jaguars making a stupid trade for nothing. And roster cuts happening because Papa Joe and I will have a lot to say. And when Gardner Minshew was traded for literally an invisible 6th-round pick, I wanted to go off, but I didn't. And I told you all last week that I would save it for Papa Joe. So that's what we're doing today. And we're also going to get into our baseball standings. In hour number 2, I'm going to have video Q&As with these wonderful gentlemen. You know that it is Syracuse football game week. I can't believe I'm saying it, but I'm saying it. It's Syracuse football 2021-2022 college football season game week. There will be a game this Saturday, September 4th, at 7 p.m. Eastern Time, Syracuse at Ohio. Dino Babers facing off against MAC Team Ohio, which he's used to doing when he was a MAC coach at Bowling Green right before Syracuse. And this game week has been my way to prep you all week long for what's to come with interviews, video Q&As, audio Q&As, and today you will see on video my Q&As with Kingsley Jonathan, starting defensive lineman, starting fullback Chris Elmore, starting corner Garrett Williams, who is the first person in the history of Trevor Lawrence's collegiate career to ever pick six him, which he did last season in Death Valley at Clemson, and a man that'll be used in the rotation and is in the 2 deep at running back, Cooper Lutz. All of those interviews coming up in hour number 2. We can't jam-pack the jam-pack anymore, but I will do everything I can to make sure we continue to get as many interviews and opportunities to prepare you for the Syracuse football season. Big shout-outs to all the gentlemen that will be here with us today, and of course, very, very excited for what's to come, not only on today's show, but on TGIF. So, with that being said, inside the Cafe Kubal studios on 3501 James Street, 401 South Salina Street, 208 North Townsend Street, inside of Golisano's Children's Hospital in downtown Syracuse, 343 Fayette Street in Manlius, and on the corner of Route 11 and Taft Road at Sweetheart Corners in North Syracuse with their first ever drive-thru. I now proudly welcome the man of the hour, the Thursday 9 to 10, the lock it up, it is his. You talk about corners having islands. Well, this is Papa Joe's island. Let's bring him in. PJ, how we doing?
Good morning, Daniel. Boy, you talked a lot this morning, buddy. You got a lot of partners. I'm great for you. It's great for you. have that many partners. Good.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate it. Working with some great people here in our beautiful community of Central and Upstate New York, I feel very blessed and honored. All I can say, Papa Joe, is when you come up here, there's a lot of people that dote on you. That's what I can say.
Sure. Just remember, I don't cost you anything.
It's very true. Papa Joe doesn't have that money that I have to pay, and there's no agent that I have to talk to. If anything, I'm the agent of PJ. So happy to have you here, Papa Joe, and a lot of things to get into, a lot of things to unpack and talk about. I guess we can go to, I'm going to hold the Gardner thing because I got a lot of thoughts on it, but we can go to the practice squad and take a look at that. The Jacksonville Jaguars making some decisions here on their practice squad and who they're going to be keeping. And like you said off the air, I mean, this is going to change over and over and over again. But as of right now, the Jacksonville Jaguars have made some decisions on who they're going to keep inside of their practice squad. What's your take on who they decided to? Because essentially, when you make your cut and you get your roster down to 53, then undoubtedly teams typically call back people. So they say, hey, you know what? You didn't make the cut to 53, but you were our 54th best player. So we're going to do this. We're going to bring in and whatever. So the Jaguars have done that with a bunch of guys here. Wide receiver Philip Dorsett, Devin Smith, Laquan Treadwell, Jeff Cotton Jr., and Josh Hammond, all receivers, have been signed to the practice squad. Defensive tackle Doug Costin, offensive lineman Casey McDermott, Trevor Wallace-Sims, and Badara Traor have been added to the practice squad. Running backs Devin Ozigbo, Devin Ozigbo, I think it is, Nathan Cottrell, and defensive back Brandon Rusnick, and cornerback Lorenzo Burns. Those are their lucky number 13 practice squad, my grandpa's number. So what are your thoughts on the guys that have been put there? And I guess really what I'm sure you're going to circle are Dorsett and Treadwell being added to the practice squad but not being on the roster.
Oh, it surprised me. Surprised me a lot. Looking at the offense, and you got wide receivers Marvin Jones, DJ Chark, Kevin Austin, who I don't know where he came from because I didn't follow him at all. Laviska Shenault, my favorite player, Jamal Agnew. I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened. I thought that Dorsett, especially even Cotton and Hammond, these guys played well in the preseason. Cotton nabbed some serious throws from Z.J. Beathard, and I thought he was a lot for the spot. And Josh Hammond, I mean, that shocked me. And Dorsett, I mean, they traded for Dorsett. I mean, they signed Dorsett from somewhere. I think it was Pittsburgh, Philly, or something like that. But I don't get it. Urban, for all his good and bad, he's still an emotional guy, and he doesn't like doing this. When you're University of Florida, Ohio State, you got 100 players, and you don't have to cut anyone. You may have to throw a guy out of school every once in a while, but you don't cut anyone. And for him to go from 90 players to 53, I'm certain, knowing him, it was very emotional for him, and especially talking about guys like Dorsett and Hammond. It's tough. Now, Costin, I'm surprised that he's there too, because as much as I like Tavon Bryan, I didn't think that he deserved the shot this year. I mean, for 3 years, he's really been sort of non-existent in the defense, and I thought that Costin played better than he did, but he's on the squad. Offensive lineman McDermott, Sims, Traore. I don't know anything about those guys, and I think this offensive line is pretty solidified right now. Running back Ozigbo, Nate Cottrell. I thought Cottrell played well during the preseason too. That surprised me too. Defensive back Rusnick and Burns. Not much to say about those guys. There were some surprises. I know that Urban wants to keep these guys close to him, but if I'm not mistaken, other teams can sign players off of your practice squad. Is that correct?
Yeah, actually, Alan Lazard, who was a practice squad receiver for Jacksonville coming in, was signed by the Green Bay Packers, and now he's arguably their number 2 receiver, and Aaron Rodgers loves him.
No, and that makes sense. But if he's got to protect these guys, I mean, he could have carried another couple of wide receivers, or maybe one, get Dorsett or Hammond, or even Treadwell. But these guys played well. I really like Cotton. I just can't emphasize that enough. But I mean, they did what they did, and now we got offense and defense in front of us, and we can tear the team apart. I don't want to have to do that, but I want to see things progress here.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I mean, they had a ton of receivers going in, and I joked about it that obviously they can't have, 19 receivers on the squad, and so they were going to have to make some cuts and make some moves, and they did. And ultimately, we are where we are right now. And taking a look at this, the offensive line, Cam Robinson there, Andrew Norwell, Brandon Linder, A.J. Can has been on the reserve COVID-19 list, and Juwan Taylor. They do have some depth. They have Walker Little, and they have Will Richardson and Tyler Shatley. So there is some help here. And Will Richardson, I believe, they may have let walk and then brought back. And they had done that in recent past here with other guys, with when they did it at the tight end position with Ben Koyak, where they let him go and brought him back. The tight ends. I mean, obviously we know that they got rid of Tim Tebow. What are your thoughts on the tight end list? It now has depth chart wise, Chris Manhertz is first, then James O'Shaughnessy, who has the most tenure in Jacksonville, and then rookie Luke Farrell, who they got later in the draft. What are your thoughts on that?
I think they were fair. O'Shaughnessy is one of my favorite players. He's just a fiery guy, big guy, catches the ball well. He's certainly a better offensive threat than Manhertz. I think Manhertz is the blocking kind of tight end. So what do? You sign them both, and you just let them flip-flop back and forth. I guess Farrell beat out my main man Tebow for a slot, but I don't know much about Farrell. I know he's a rookie, but he must have performed very well for him to make the team. So there's three good tight ends, and we'll just go with it. I think the tackles and the guards you expressed correctly. All of these guys, except for Walker Little, all of these guys are not new to the Jaguars. They've played before. Some of them haven't played up to par, but Durbin's going to have to see that these guys have been around 3 or 4 years. If they don't produce here early in this year, he's going to have to go out and get some more defense or offensive linemen.
Yeah, and this is something he's really got to figure out. And it's funny because, I said the biggest question mark going into this season for Syracuse Orange Football is their offensive line. And with Jacksonville, one of their biggest questions going into the season is their offensive line. And if they don't get it figured out, these guys, I can't imagine. He'll keep some, but I don't think he'll keep all of them because they haven't stayed healthy together really ever. And in these last few seasons. So, looking up this, it's one of those things that I don't see how Cam Robinson, Andrew Norwell, Brandon Linder, Juwan Taylor, AJ Can. I don't know how these guys can survive this season into next season if they don't stay healthy and they don't stay together, because these guys are costing you money and they're not a perennial and a week-by-week line that you can trust and say, these are our guys. These are guys that, and I understand injuries happen and whatnot, I get that, but it's happened to the point where it's become obnoxious on Jacksonville, and at the same time, they've had to build the depth, and so, they have a little more depth now. Tyler Shatley's not on, the depth chart at 2 different positions that he's going to play, them both, and so, that's one of the things when, it's an ode to them when one of your players is your best backup option at 2 positions, but it also tells you that you don't have somebody at one of those positions that you trust, and that's an issue because obviously Shatley had to play last year and he can't play 2 roles. So, I think having him back is good, but guys like Ben Barch and Walker Little and Will Richardson, they all have to step up and they really have to carry their weight because Jacksonville has not had health and they haven't had depth in multiple years to the tune of some really, really difficult moments on the field, which have caused this team to look like they were never right outside the Super Bowl just a few years ago.
It's critical. It's crucial that these guys work together and protect Lawrence. I don't want to see the same thing that happened the very first play of the very first preseason. He gets sacked. That I'm going to go crazy if I see that. Lawrence has learned enough to where he can get rid of the ball under 4 seconds. He can read his defenses a hell of a lot better than other quarterbacks, even aged quarterbacks. These guys have got to protect him. Robinson and Taylor, the bookend tackles, have got to do a better job, especially when it's, I don't know who's going to be playing left tackle, but that's the most important player on the team right now. If you don't protect your blindside quarterback, you're in a lot of trouble, and I don't want to see that. I don't want to see him scrambling around for his life back there like Minshew, just dodging here and there, and Minshew could run a little bit. Lawrence can run too, but that's not why he's there. He's 6'6" and 225. You got to use his arm, so he got to stay in the pocket, and he's got to be protected. And we can say this from now until heaven, but it's crucial that these guys protect this kid.
Yeah, and it sounds like common sense, but they got to stay healthy. They got to stay out there. And I'm the same way as you. I seeing Trevor Lawrence, because everybody's asking me, what do you think about Trevor? Do you think he's the guy? Do you think he could be the guy? Where do you think the team's going to go? Like, what's your take? What's your take? What's your take? And I said, listen, they got to keep him upright. They got to protect him. First couple games in preseason didn't look good in the fact that they were just letting this man get hit. So, and then we get into our third preseason game, PJ, and I'd love to talk with you about this because you texted me and said, are these the Jaguars or are these the Chiefs? Jaguars out there doing their thing and making some nice moves in what would be my dream Super Bowl. Dallas, which is my team on the other side, and Jacksonville, my team in the AFC. So this was my dream Super Bowl to see this past weekend. On Sunday, August 29th, I was at the Wildcat Sports Pub all day long on 3680 Milton Avenue in Camillus, New York, eating chicken Phillies and Kama fries and barbecue sauce and having a good old time doing my 3 fantasy drafts back to back to back. And, of course, the Jaguars-Cowboys game was there, the game that was at Dallas and Arlington. What were your thoughts on this and your takeaways from this as guys work to make the team? Obviously, Pharoh Cooper, who caught the touchdown pass from Trevor Lawrence. Pharoh Cooper makes the team. Azigbo had a 4-yard run later in the game, but he's on the practice squad. And Laquan Treadwell caught a touchdown pass from somebody who people forget, Jake Luton, who they drafted last year or a couple years ago. And so Jake Luton here is throwing to Laquan Treadwell. Jake's still on the team, I believe. And Laquan Treadwell is on the practice squad. Laviska Shenault got involved. And Jacksonville's offense looked good. Trevor Lawrence ended the game 11 of 12, 139 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. Jake Luton, 16 of 18, 1 touchdown, no interception. C.J. Beathard, 5 of 10 with an interception. So between Jake and Trevor, only 3 incompletions in 30 attempts. Pretty nice for them, 27 of 30 combined. Looking pretty well here as we head into the season.
Well, it's true. I know that Dallas didn't have their best players on the field, but what we saw from Lawrence is what we're hoping that we would see and hope to see it throughout the season. He stood in there and he's got a hell of an arm. I mean, this kid's he can make all the throws. He's like a taller Patrick Mahomes. He can go to his left and throw to his right and back and forth. These guys, they got their arms are all screwed around. They can make all sorts of angles with their arms. He said, I don't think we have to go on record to say this, but he's the real deal. And I'm sure there's a lot of talk in the league saying that, well, we'll see how good he is when the actual playing starts. Well, they said that about Luck, too. This is the best player to come out of the quarterback position since Luck. And I agree with that. He looked good. A couple of series, 3 series, he's gone. No reason to get him killed out there. Everyone looked good. I mean, I'm really surprised at some of the wide receivers. Like I stated earlier, I don't know Tavon Austin very well or Jamal Agnew. These guys make the team ahead of Hammond and Dorsett and McCoy Treadwell. I don't get it. But, Urban's got to make the decisions along with his offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator, so that's what they did. I'm sure it's not easy for him, and he's not used to it. So he's got a good relationship with these guys, and even with Tebow. It probably pains him to tell Tebow that he can't play football this year for them. So, Urban's a little strange, but he's very emotional, and he's going to get even more emotional if Lawrence gets hurt. You're going to see him cry on the field. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, and that's the thing is they made this decision now, and like you said, telling people that they can't play for them this year. Well, one of those guys is Gardner Minshew. Now, last week on the show, you and I had a conversation. What was the conversation? It was, if Gardner Minshew is trade bait, which it looks like he is, since you drafted Trevor Lawrence number 1 overall. So if you have Gardner as trade bait, you hold on to him until somebody's quarterback goes down during the season, and then you trade for what you want. Then you talked about, well, they should trade for a running back because Travis Etienne went down, and they have Carlos Hyde and really their starters James Robinson. And I said to you, well, here's some teams they could go to. One of the teams on that short list, the Philadelphia Eagles. Why? Because they have about 130 running backs. What happened a few days later after you said they should trade for a running back and I said Gardner Minshew is trade bait for the Jaguars and Philadelphia makes sense? Well, they traded Gardner Minshew to the Philadelphia Eagles in less than a week after we said it. But what did they not listen to? What we wanted in return. They got a 6th-round conditional draft pick in 2022. And if Gardner Minshew plays at least 50% of the snaps in 3 games this season, it becomes a 5th-round pick. For some odd reason, between Calais Campbell, A.J. Boye, Gardner Minshew, and on and on and on and on, the only thing the Jaguars want are 5th and 6th round picks, which is strange. Almost like they don't know that there's picks in the first 4 rounds, which they do because they drafted Trevor Lawrence and Travis Etienne in this last first round. They made some smart moves with Jalen Ramsey's trade and Yannick Ngakwe's trade, but they listened to us with Gardner Minshew halfway. They listened to the team to trade him to. They listened to the trade bait. What they didn't hear was get a running back because there were so many in Philly. What are your thoughts on the fact that Gardner Minshew is no longer a Jaguar? He's wearing a darker shade of green, and the Jaguars got a 6th-round pick, which is what he was. So essentially, they traded him and told him that he was no value. We're going to trade you for a 6th-round pick because you're a 6th-round pick. And they didn't bring anything in to immediately help the team, including at running back. Your thoughts?
Awful, terrible decision. At most, it's a 3rd-round pick. But, you know, the powers to be forgot that this kid played last year. He played through his ass. I mean, he did a hell of a job. He was bounced all over the field. The Jaguars had a terrible season, a terrible team. And this kid somehow threw the ball extremely well. And, again, the powers to be forgot that he led the nation in passing with Mike Leach from Washington State, who was the guru of quarterbacks throwing touchdown passes. He had something like 37 touchdown passes. Come on, fellas. I mean, you're telling me that this kid is only worth a 6th-round pick? Man, you're smoking too much, buddy.
Yeah. You know, and that's the thing. We look at Gardner Minshew, and we go to his statistics. And statistically, Gardner Minshew, to take a look at what he's done in the NFL since coming in out of Washington State after playing at East Carolina, where I covered obviously him. They knew of his name there at East Carolina. He's played 2 seasons in the NFL. In 2019-20, he played in 14 games, started in 12. He was 60.6% in his completion percentage, 3,271 yards, 470 attempts, 285 completions, 21 touchdowns to 6 interceptions. Last season, he played in 9 games, started in 8. 214 completions on 327 attempts, 66.1% completion percentage, 2,259 passing yards, 16 touchdowns to 5 interceptions. So, what I'm saying to you is his completion percentage has gone up almost 6%. On top, he has had single-digit interception seasons in 2 years where Jameis Winston has 11 interceptions by lunchtime and 37 touchdowns to 11 interceptions, a completion percentage that's going up and that's at 66% right now, over 2,000 yards in both seasons and over 200 completions in both seasons. I guess the question is, what did Gardner Minshew do wrong?
He did not do anything wrong. He played his butt off. It's sad to say. First of all, I hated to see him leave, but we knew that they were going to trade him. What they were going to trade him for, we don't know. I wanted a running back. You wanted a value, which is true. And for us to get a 6th-round pick for him, and to suppose he completes 50% of his passes, a fifth-round pick. Big effing deal. That ain't going to work for him. Not going to work for us. He should have been. Frankly, he should have stayed. Urban should have talked him into it, saying, listen, you're a heck of a player. You played well in this league for 2 years. You can back up Trevor. If Trevor gets hurt, you're the man in the game. He didn't say that. So apparently, Urban didn't trust him. I don't understand why.
Yeah. And it doesn't make any sense. And listen, C.J. Beathard's had to step in with Jimmy Garoppolo going down before. And I've said before that Jake Luton, I think, has some talent here when they drafted him late within the last couple of years. So, I mean, there's obviously talent on this team, but your former starter is no longer on your team. You just traded a starting NFL quarterback for a pick almost a year away in the 6th round. You traded a starting quarterback for a 6th round pick. I just want you to wrap your... Well, Dan, I don't think Gardner Minshew's a starter. Okay, well, by the numbers he is, and by the numbers he's better than a bunch of guys who have been. So, by the numbers, and it's the same thing with Blake Bortles. Why do you guys like Blake? Go look at his numbers. His numbers were on pace with Mark Brunell in mistakes and in positive play, in interceptions and in touchdowns, in yards and completion percentage. He was right on the line. And Mark Brunell did it with Keenan McCardell, Jimmy Smith, Kyle Brady, Fred Taylor, that offensive line, that defensive line, that secondary, those linebackers. They did it with a team that was an AFC champion contender in 2 AFC championship games. He did it with all of that. You look at Blake Bortles' numbers, number 2 all-time behind only Mark Brunell in Jacksonville. He did that all with a bunch of guys that you can't name. With an offensive line that got hurt. With an offensive line that was worse in the country. With running backs that were changing. With wide receivers that were changing. With a tight end that was changing. With a defense that had to get good but wasn't good every year. So, by the numbers, Blake is completely disrespected. And by the numbers, Gardner Minshew is a starting quarterback. So to say, hey, guess what, Trevor Lawrence? Not only are you the prettiest Hanson brother, but we're also going to put you out there, and we're not going to have a guy here who's had the experience. C.J. Beathard's had some, and Jake Luton has had little to none. We're going to get rid of Gardner Minshew, a guy who we used to sell tickets, a guy who we used to sell merchandise, a guy who sold out of his merchandise, a guy who Papa Joe and I are still waiting for our royalty money, because we said to you, when Jalen Ramsey was stamping his foot and crying in the corner, to take all the cameras and shift him toward Gardner Minshew and focus on him and make money off of that positivity, focus on that positivity, push the business in that direction, and they did. And they sold a bunch of stuff and they drowned out Jalen Ramsey, in my opinion, in a lot of ways. So now you take a guy who gave everything to you, his blood, sweat, and tears, who you utilized to sell tickets and merchandise, and you really truly showed him that it was a business. And not only did you show him it was a business, you disrespected him by trading him for nothing.
You're exactly right, Daniel. That's very well said, very well stated. I remember all the headbands and the mustaches. If they have a short memory, of course, there's new management there, but well, we'll see. We'll see. I wish him luck. I don't know if we ever have to play against him, but I wish him luck. Yeah. And meanwhile, he's showing us, Lawrence is showing us some guys that I'm not familiar with, like Tavon Austin and Jamal Agnew.
Yeah.
Apparently, these guys have played better. They just traded for Ty Johnson from the Chargers. Where did he come from? And they got Dorsett and Treadwell and Hammond and Cotton sitting on the practice squad. I don't get it. I don't like. I can't say I don't like it. I mean, because I don't know enough about Austin and Agnew or Johnson to comment about it. But I certainly would think that Dorsett and Cotton and Hammond are a better trio than these guys.
Well, and the thing is with all honesty, there could be a situation where they're going to have to call one of these guys up because we've seen injuries with DJ Chark. He has a finger injury, left him questionable for week 1. Marvin Jones has a AC joint injury that's leaving him questionable for week 1. Terry Godwin, we know, is on injured reserve. Tavon Austin has a quad injury, which leaves him questionable for week 1, which leaves you with Laviska Shenault, Ty Johnson, who you just brought in from the Chargers, like you mentioned, and like Greg had written in here, and Jamal Agnew. So Chark's not 100%. Jones isn't 100%. Tavon Austin isn't 100%. So you got Chenault, Johnson, and Agnew. And where's my boy Colin Johnson, who stepped up last year as a third-string receiver and did some good things? And, where is he going to be at? What's going on with him? So, I would think this practice squad might get some work in right away if your top two receivers are not 100%. Tavon's not out there returning things, and Terry Godwin's on injured reserve. So, if you got Laviska Shenault, that's good. You got Ty, that's good. Jamal Agnew, okay. But they're going to have to bring some more guys up. I could see Urban Meyer and the team calling up one or two of these practice squad guys right before the season starts.
I agree. One guy that looked good to me in the preseason was Nate Cottrell. I thought he looked exceptional catching the ball out of the backfield. He did a heck of a job. Now, is he a better player than Adare Agumbawe or Carlos Hyde? Carlos Hyde probably is at the end of his career, maybe not close to the end of his career. But I would think that Cottrell would be a better running back than these guys to back up James Robinson. James Robinson is an extraordinary running back in this day and age. He's short, he's compact, he's strong, he's big. Throw all those adjectives together, and you got James Robinson. He's maybe 5'9", 220. He's like a little bowling ball out there. He's the kind of guy that probably won't get hurt. But he can get some dings and dangs here and there. But to throw in these other two guys, Dare and Carlos, behind James, if he gets hurt, can't see it. I want to see Cottrell play.
Well, and the thing is, as we said before, you put a guy out there on your practice squad, and Jacksonville looked pretty dumb when they put Alan Lazard there in his rookie season, and the Green Bay Packers said, you know what, we'll take him from you guys for about $37, and we'll take him over here. We'll bring him to Green Bay. We'll get some cheese in his belly. We'll fill him up. And then here's Aaron Rodgers in practice calling out receivers, and he turns around and says, I really like this Lazard guy. After that, from fifth string to second. That's all he had to say. Hey, I like throwing to that guy. That number 13, he's all right. And now Alan Lazard's got a job for potentially as long as Aaron Rodgers is there, which could be until the end of the season. But it's one of those things that, how does Aaron Rodgers see the value of Alan Lazard, but not a gosh dang coach who's recruited forever and a day see the talent in Alan Lazard? You got him on your practice squad, and Mr. MVP in Green Bay is saying, practice squad? I want to throw to this guy every Sunday. It's crazy.
Well, it's probably when you end your show today, probably someone's going to grab one of these guys we talked to off the practice squad. It happens that quick. These NFL guys are smart. Sometimes they're dumb, but most of the time they're smart, and they will canvass the entire practice squad rosters of all the teams and say, you know what, Philip Dorsett, what is he doing on the practice? Let's grab him, okay? And before you knew it, before your show was over, Philip Dorsett is gone. So,
yeah,
we're going to have to trust that Urban and the boys are going to make the right decision. Daryl Bevel's no dope. He's a good offensive coordinator. He knows what he's talking about, too, but I'm exasperated a little bit. I want to see 53 of the best players play. And in my opinion, I know they have more than 53 players right now. I'm sure they're going to whittle that down a little bit. But I want to see the best 53 players that they can put on the field. And I don't think they've done that, Daniel.
Well, and it's still up to see what they can do. Speaking of Green Bay here for a second, too, to go over there. The wide receiver core looking a little bit prettier. Devontae Adams there, Alan Lazard. Randall Cobb is back. Amari Rodgers that I covered at Clemson's there. Marquez Valdez-Scantling of South Florida is probably on his last leg. So that's where we have it in the Aaron Rodgers farewell tour from Green Bay, I would imagine. So Greg saying Colin Johnson was a nice target in the end zone at 6'6". Yeah, I like Colin Johnson, so we'll see. Greg said also a Giant. Hopefully it doesn't come to that situation. No offense. So we'll see what has to happen here with the Jaguars too. I just want them to make smart decisions. You want to win out there in the sport of football. It comes down to recruiting, which is drafting, So it comes down to drafting, scheming, and implementing plans and making good decisions on your roster cuts. Listen, I knew they had a ton of receivers, but you draft, you trade, you put it all together, you put it in camp, you got 90 some odd guys. You better be watching the film of the film of the film of the film of the other film. You better be watching these guys eat chicken nuggets at your local Chick-fil-A. You better watch them all the time and make these decisions and be smart about it, because you don't want somebody to be claimed off of waivers, claimed off your practice squad. So Jacksonville does not have the luxury of being stupid anymore. It's wake-up time, it's wake-up call, and we'll be back from the Cafe Kubal studios right after this. You like that transition? I hope you did. We'll be back right after this fast break.
Carvel DeWitt, it's what happy tastes like. Do you know why? Because we make ice cream. Creamy, rich, flavorful ice cream. Not yogurt or iced milk like some of our competitors. Ice cream. Carvel DeWitt, it's what happy tastes like. Do you know why? Because we make ice cream. Creamy, rich, flavorful ice cream. Not yogurt or iced milk like some of our competitors. Ice cream. Fresh, by hand, daily. For the calorie conscious, we have something new for you. Our new Carvelite. Same great flavor, creaminess, and texture of our regular ice cream with only 35 calories an ounce. So whether you want an ice cream cake, flying saucer, dasher, carvalanche, hard or soft ice cream, we will satisfy your craving with our fresh, handmade regular or new Carvelite ice cream. Carvel DeWitt. It's what happy tastes like.
Cafe Kubal offers same-day local delivery of our products, offering no delivery charge for Onondaga County. Shop cafekubal.com for fresh roasted coffee beans, cold brew, travel mugs, and all your essential Cafe Kubal needs. Cafe Kubal, coffee for the soul.
The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is located on 3680 Milton Avenue in the Home Depot Plaza. It is your family-friendly sports bar and restaurant. Folks, some sports bars aren't family-friendly. Some family-friendly restaurants are not sports bars. The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is proud to be both. It is that marriage that you've been looking for years. The Wildcat Sports Pub is your home base for your sports bar and restaurant needs, games for the kids, indoor and outdoor activities, and enough things on the menu to come back every single week and get to try something new. They're open Sundays from noon to 8 p.m., Monday through Wednesday, 11 a.m. to 11 p.m., and Thursday through Saturday from 11 a.m. to midnight. For reservations and party information, call 315-487-2222 for the Wildcat family-friendly sports pub and restaurant. Welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora on wakeupcalldt.com, your one-stop sports shop, and on mixlr.com/wakeupcalldt. How's your morning going, folks? Hopefully great. Hopefully you're filling your cup up with Cafe Kubal. You're driving through the drive-thru right now at Sweetheart Corners on the corner of Route 11 and Taft Road, or you're out at one of their many Syracuse locations at 3501 James Street, 401 South Salina Street, 208 North Townsend Street, and inside of Galisanos Children's Hospital in Syracuse. Or you're out at that giant behemoth of a brown-striped building that looks like coffee being poured on 343 Fayette Street in Manlius. Wherever you're at, welcome to the show and a good morning to you. mixlr.com/wakeupcalldt, wakeupcalldt.com, and of course on facebook.com/wakeupcalldt, facebook.com/livenowdt, and on youtube.com/wakeupcalldt is where you're listening and watching Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora every single Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time. And PJ and I are talking about the Jacksonville Jaguars. I think we were very lenient to them, kidding, on Gardner Minshew. And, you know, it's ridiculous. I want to know the day where Jacksonville, because when I was a junior in high school, shout out to my English teacher and my intro to business teacher, Virginia Mannion. Shout out to you, Mrs. Mannion. We could be whatever we wanted to be, and we had to talk about it. And I decided to be the general manager of the Jaguars. And that was back in 2002. It is now 2021. It's almost 20 years later, and Jacksonville's made a bunch of horrible decisions. So, I just want them to know, I want Shad Khan to know, that I wrote a paper 19 years ago, and since then have done a lot of shows, and I'd be more than happy to come and meet with you, even if you put me on the practice squad as your interim general manager. Because I think, maybe, just maybe, I would get more than a Charms Blow Pop, cherry flavor, by the way, a couple pieces of grass, and a half-eaten taco for Gardner Minshew. So, welcome back. And so, but PJ, let's go to the defensive side of it. What do you think about the roster and how it's shaped up for Jacksonville? We have Malcolm Brown, who they brought in, be one of their defensive ends. We have Roy Robertson Harris that they also brought in. Devon Hamilton as their nose tackle. They're going 3 sets of hands down, just like Syracuse. It's funny. Syracuse won 1 game last year, and so did Jacksonville. Syracuse has got 3 defensive linemen, and so does Jacksonville. It's funny how sometimes they parallel. Linebacker-wise, Damian Wilson, Miles Jack, Calevon Chasen, and Josh Allen are all the starters. Shaquille Quarterman made the team. And some other guys like Lorente McCray, who's been here, Jihad Ward, who they brought in, are all on the roster as well. And in the defensive back room, Shaquille Griffin, who they brought in over the offseason, and Rashawn Jenkins. Look at Shaquille Griffin and C.J. Henderson starting. Tyson Campbell, they drafted out of Ohio State. Trey Herndon, who filled in, I thought, very well and over-delivered when Jalen Ramsey left during the season. And they still have Chris Claybrooks. And then at safety, Rudy Ford, Rashawn Jenkins. And that third-round pick from Syracuse, he pretty good. He made the team, Andre Cisco. What are your thoughts?
I got a couple that I'd like to discuss. Go Gators. I can't say go Gators because I don't understand why Taylor Bryan is still on the team. I think I spoke about it earlier. He's underperformed for 3 years, and he made the team this year. I don't see that. Devon Hamilton is probably the better player. Maybe they'll alternate. Maybe Devon is just going to be spot duty, but I don't look for him to. If he doesn't produce a little bit more, I look for Urban to dump him, despite him being a Gator or not. And shout out to you, of course. Andre Cisco was a world beater. He played his butt off. He's flying all over the field. Excellent player. I wouldn't be surprised if he starts. I don't know, C.J. Henderson and Shaquille Griffin and these guys, but he plays safety, and I think he's a better safety than Andrew Wingard is now, and Wingard's been with us a couple years. But Wingard is the kind of player who's very infectious. I mean, he's got that blonde hair flowing all over the place, and I like to see him fly around. But I think Cisco maybe starts, or maybe not ahead of Jenkins, but with him. So Miles Jack, of course, will anchor the linebackers. I don't have too much to say. I just have to see these guys play.
Yeah.
Josh Allen, of course, is going to be the key. On a linebacker, he's not going to be three hands down, 2 hands down. He's going to be on his feet, rushing the passer most of the time. Just the 2 guys I just talked about, Kevin Bryan and Andre Cisco. Your thoughts?
Yeah, Brian's got to figure this thing out. Brian's on his last leg in Jacksonville. If it don't work now, it ain't gonna work. Okay? It's what I actually gave for relationship advice to somebody within the last couple days. I said, you can want them to change. You can hope that they change. You can tell them how to get better. You could tell them, maybe try this. But if they don't want to do it, it's not going to change. Well, Taven Bryan, they've tried it, and they've tried it, and they've tried it. And if it doesn't change, it's like any relationship. Are you going to fit a square peg into a round hole, or are you just going to move on? When they drafted Taven Bryan, despite the fact that he's a Gator, Papa Joe and I went, what? And after a few seasons, Papa Joe and I have gone, what? So it hasn't changed. And if it hasn't changed up to this point, maybe Urban can pull something out of him to change it. But if it doesn't, then we're going to have to move forward. And that's not me wishing bad on Taven Bryan. And that's not me saying that he's not talented. It's me saying that sometimes it's just not working. And I don't know why they wasted a first-round pick on him. And now I sit here today saying to myself, I didn't feel like it would work back then, and it's not working now. And you're a first-round pick, you're an early-round pick, and you're not starting? That's an issue. Because they got DeJuan Smoot out of Illinois, I believe, in the 4th round, and he's in the same spot as Taven Bryan right now. He's a backup defensive end. So, we'll see.
Well, if Taven Bryan was drafted in the first round, and Gardner Minshew was drafted, if Taven Bryan gets to be traded, guess what number draft pick we're going to get?
Probably a 6th round.
Right. Well, who knows?
Jacksonville really likes...
really playing well. I saw him play a couple times in Syracuse. He's a quality athlete, and I'd look for him to really be utilized a lot.
Yeah, and I'm excited. I'm excited about what's to come and everything that we have going on here. So, big shout-out to all of the gentlemen out there and to Taven Bryan. I hope this is your year, and I hope that you figure things out within your rookie contract and you make it work and you make it right and you do right by Jacksonville and you put on a show. I really do. I want to see you succeed. I want to see all these guys eat. So it's my hope and my prayer that they do, and we'll have to see. But my guy, forever and ever since he got there, Mr. Andre Cisco, who I got to interview as he got to Jacksonville, and I'm going to re-air that so everybody can check it out, especially now following the news that he made the team. I'm super duper excited for him. I'm really happy for him, and I'm hoping nothing but the best. Jacksonville, you got a steal in the 3rd round. If this man went to Ohio State or Florida, he would have been a first-round DB. So you got a steal in the 3rd round. Just ask the Colts with Zaire Franklin as a 7th-round pick. Some of these guys from Syracuse, this is the thing. Individually, Syracuse has a lot of talent. But that's when it comes to coaching. When, as a team, you're not winning, but you have the talent that they've had, especially as of late, that tells you if your personnel's good, but you're not winning games, that means your coaching and your scheming aren't good. Because if the talent's good, but you're not getting there, well, then what are they doing with the talent that they have? Cisco is a killer. And they just brought him into Jacksonville as a 3rd-round pick when he should have been a 1st. I love it. I'm good with it. I'm happy with it. I'm rocking with it. Let's see what we could do from here. And, Jacksonville likes to have picks and just stock. I think what's going to happen in 2022 is I think the 6th round is just going to be renamed the Jacksonville compensatory round. And they're just going to be taking people alone. So, I mean, maybe they're trying to take a book from Bill Belichick, take out of his book because he got Tom Brady in the 6th round as a compensatory pick. And, he got a bunch of draft picks over the last couple of years. I don't know. But to get to another piece of this, PJ, there's another story that happened that's kind of actually very interesting. And I want to give a shout out to Greg, who's always religiously listening and watching us, especially when Papa Joe's on Thursdays. And because of the storm and everything that's been going on and whatnot, and again, my prayers go out to everybody dealing with Hurricane Ida and really dealing with anything out there, natural disaster or COVID or heartbreak or somebody passing away. My prayers and my hopes in the name of the Father and the Son and the Holy Spirit. I pray and I hope for every single one of you to be safe, to be healthy, to be happy, for your life to be long and fun and go by slowly, and for you to never, ever, ever waste a moment. Jacksonville has been nice enough, being away in Week 1, that they'll host the New Orleans Saints opener against the Green Bay Packers. And in doing that, as Greg brought up, it takes what we've talked about and nicely dances it all together. Follow the bouncing ball with me if you shall. It'll end with Jacksonville getting a 6th-round pick, inevitably. Alan Lazard, practice squad Jacksonville, goes to Green Bay. Aaron Rodgers likes him. Aaron Rodgers comes to Jacksonville to play the New Orleans Saints, who feature Jameis Winston, who Papa Joe talks about all the time, and PJ lives in North Florida, where Jacksonville plays. That is the circle of life, and today we're talking about the fact that the Saints and the Green Bay Packers will be the first team to play in Jacksonville Stadium this year, which is very, very interesting. On September 12th, the city of New Orleans, as they continue to recover, unfortunately again, they'll be playing in Jacksonville at 4:25 p.m. Eastern Time. I'm excited about this opportunity and excited to see what can happen. Now the Saints are on the road in Week 2 and Week 3 at Carolina and at New England, so hopefully things will be okay and they'll be able to come back to the Superdome after all of that. The Superdome did not have significant damage, but there has been a lot of power outages throughout New Orleans, and it would make it difficult for them to host a game, as well as security and staffing. So, happy to see that the Jaguars opened their home up to the New Orleans Saints and the Green Bay Packers. And I know Shad Khan is a good businessman from what I can see from the outside looking in. So I would venture to say that he probably got a nice little tip in his tip jar to have this game as well.
Yes, he's going to get a piece of the action. I'll guarantee you that. He's a savvy guy. I'm excited for that too because I get to see Rodgers here play on natural grass, which he loves to play on, and well, we'll see what he's got. He didn't do anything at all during the preseason. I mean, I guess he didn't have to. After he stared down to the big bad wolves from the Packers, he's been very, very quiet. So I'm glad to see what's his name back. The little wide receiver that they lost.
Randall Cobb.
Yes, gosh, he was great. He was really a security blanket for Aaron. And of course, him being a quarterback, he could read Rodgers just like a book, and that's not going to change. He'll be a slot receiver. He's going to catch if it's 3rd and 8, he's going to get the first down. So I'm excited about it, and I want to see Green Bay do well, of course. And what can I say about New Orleans? My man, Jameis, somehow got the starting job. Now, before you guys start beating up on me, I admit, Jameis is a good athlete, is a wonderful athlete. He's got a big arm. But there's a process that goes when you're a quarterback. And Bill Belichick just proved it. He took his rookie quarterback and dumped the MVP of the league so he could start. Why? He doesn't have the best arm. He doesn't move the best, but he's smart. He knows where he wants to go with the ball and how to get it there. That's what Jameis has never learned. And Peyton, for all he is as a coach down there, is going to find that out. I mean, Mac Jones came into the league and is starting for probably the best coach that's ever played or ever coached in this league.
Yeah.
Bill Belichick. Now, and he beat out Cam Newton. Now, what does that tell you? You got other rookie quarterbacks that are playing, don't have the best arms. Trevor Lawrence, he's got it all. Okay? The little kid, anyway, he's another guy, doesn't have the best arm. But they're smart. They know what to do. They make their reads. They know where to put the ball. They know what's happening. Jameis, good luck, buddy.
And the fact that at one time Nick Saban in one quarterback room in Alabama had Mac Jones, Tua Tagovailoa, and Jalen Hurts.
That's right.
And the NFL this season, as I told you all in weeks prior, will have 3 starting quarterbacks from the Alabama Crimson Tide who were all in the same room. Jalen Hurts is your starter in Philly. Mac Jones is your starter with the Patriots. And we have Tua, your starter with Miami. All 3 of these quarterbacks fighting in that one room are now all starting quarterbacks in the NFL. What does that tell you about Alabama's room? These 3 guys were fighting to get one spot, and now they have 3 coveted spots in the NFL where only 32 of them exist. What does that say about recruiting? What does it say about Nick Saban? What does it say about the talent? And when we say that the third-string guy in Alabama could start anywhere else in the country, well, they're all starting in the NFL now.
Very well, good point, and they all deserve it, too. Jalen Hurts still has a little bit to prove. He's a sensational athlete, can run extremely well. I think he'll be a little bit more patient this year throwing the ball because no one wants to see, I always harp on this. I hate to see quarterbacks run because I don't want to see him get hurt. Jalen Hurts is built like a tank. He's not going to get hurt, I don't think. But don't run the ball, Jalen. Throw the ball away or throw it in the ground or something. Lamar Jackson, are you listening to me? Please do that. Kyler Murray, you listening to me? Please do that. So it's going to be fun to watch these guys. And Mac Jones is not surprising anyone. If you listen to some of the accolades that his teammates are making right now, they say he's all got it. He knows what he's doing. He's smart. That's what it takes in this league. It takes you to be smart. Aaron Rodgers, besides having a good arm, he's smart. Drew Brees all these years, one of the worst arms in the world, but he was smart. That's the name of this game. When you're a quarterback, you got to be smart.
Yeah. Intelligence is key in leadership and in everything in life. Knowledge and wisdom is power. I learned that as a kid, and it stands true today. PJ, bringing us in to hour number 2 as we are here today. And again, our prayers go out to New Orleans and to Green Bay and to everybody out there who needs a prayer today and everyone in the path of any one of these hurricanes. God, may they all go back into the water, go back where they came from, dissipate, disappear, and may we have each and every single person in their homes with their power, safe and sound, with something to eat and something to drink and a roof over their head tonight, today, because one life lost is way too many. And I love the city of New Orleans, and I appreciate the city of New Orleans. But to everybody everywhere, whether I've met you or I haven't, whether I've been there or I haven't, my prayers are with you, my love is with you, my hope is with you, my joy is with you, and I hope that today is better than yesterday, but not as good as tomorrow. That being said, on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora from inside of the Cafe Kubal studios, I send Papa Joe and proudly release him into the wild of the MLB. Your rankings of your top 10, PJ, as I had a conversation with some gentlemen last night about the fact that I'm not surprised. I figured it would happen. There's a second half to the season, and Major League Baseball plays 387 games a season. So, knowing that, the New York Yankees, I knew would not stay down forever. They're like Rocky in the middle of a ring. You could beat him and 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 beat him, but in round number 14, that man's getting up. So the Yankees are not dead, but the Mets are yelling at their fans. What the heck is going on in New York?
Well, it's good. It's good to talk about. I mean, and I admit that I got to eat crow. It's 2-3 weeks ago, I was jumping all over the badass Yankees, not living up their potential because they needed pitching. Well, they're slugging away on. Just to give a recap, in the American League East, you got Tampa Bay is still up. The Yankees are 7 games behind. Boston 9 games behind. Boston has underperformed. Awful, terrible what they've done. They just can't seem to put it together. They got the best hitting in the league, and they can't seem to score any runs. I don't feel how you figure that. They got 3 or 4 guys that have over 25 home runs, and they're not winning games. AL Century, Chicago's up by 10 over Cleveland. That's been gone for that. That's a moot point over the years, over the weeks. The AL West, Houston's leading the pack. Got the A's 5 games behind. Seattle 6.5 games. Houston's all they got to do is play 500 ball and they win it. National League East, Atlanta's up. Daniel's favorite league here. The Phillies are 2 behind. The Mets are 5 behind and are showing signs of slipping. Philadelphia's got a very good hitting team. Atlanta's got pitching and defense. They got it all. National League Central, we got my Brewers. Cincinnati's up, down by 10.5 games. Forget about it. St. Louis is 13 behind. Forget about it. National League West, LA's up. Giants by a half a game behind. And the underperforming San Diego Padres who I really touted at the beginning of this year, are down 14 games with 2 Cy Young Award winners pitching and an All-Americans batting. I don't understand it. Anyway, my rankings are this. The Dodgers and the Giants are flip-flopping back and forth. The Dodgers I got back up on top mainly because Clayton Kershaw is coming back in from another injury. He's always had injuries. Dodgers were 21-6 in August. That's why they jumped ahead of San Francisco. They got Max Scherzer and Walker Buehler. Scherzer's a multi-Cy Young Award winner. Walker Buehler will win a Cy Young Award maybe this year. He's pitching that well. Number 2, I got the Giants who flip-flop back and forth. They're having pitching problems. Alex Wood and Johnny Cueto are been on an injured reserve, and they're going to come back. They're just not playing very well. They got one of the better pitchers. Gavin Gaussman is their ace, but, he can't carry the team. Just like I say, that Garrett Cole can't carry the Yankees. He's just not going to happen. Number 3, they get Tampa Bay Rays continually surprise everyone, not only me. They were 20-6 in the month of August, and they got probably a rookie of the year in Wander Franco, who's hitting .313. A killer team. Win all sorts of ways. Bunting, home runs, stealing bases, doubles, triples. They're amazing to watch, and it's fun to watch them. Number 4, I got the Houston Astros. Defense leads the league with them. You got Carlos Carrera. Bregman is now back from being hurt. And you got Jose Altuve. Those 3 guys alone carried them when they won it in 16. They're still carrying them. And Garrett Cole went to the Yankees. Figure that one out.
Yeah.
Number 5, I got Milwaukee, who's playing extremely well. They're another team that they just win. They don't have the best players except for Yelich. Yelich is now hitting like he was a couple of years ago. He's up over 250 when a couple of weeks ago he was down at 220. He started to hit the mammoth home runs. Brandon Woodruff and Christian Yelich can carry Milwaukee. And they got a 10-game lead. They shouldn't give it up. Number 6, a big surprise. You got the Yankees. When you got Aaron Judge and Stanton to hit mammoth home runs, you got a lot to go. Corey Kluber, who was a Cy Young Award winner, is now starting to come back. If he starts pitching good, the Yankees will be a factor. I didn't say this a couple of weeks ago, but I'm eating my words now. There's a very good chance that they can play with or better than Tampa. Number 7, I got the Chicago White Sox. What can I say about them? They're just like Tampa Bay. They just win. They got one of the best shortstops in the league, Anderson, but he's on injured reserve with a hamstring. Jose Abreu, who hit 9 million home runs and had over 100 RBIs. And, they're a first-class team. Number 8, I got the Atlanta Braves, who continue. They don't surprise anyone. In August, they were 18-8. They win with pitching and defense. They have American League, their National League Player of the Year last year, Freddie Freeman, who is doing the same thing this year. I don't think he'll win it, but he's playing that good. 9, I got the Red Sox, another major disappointment, just like in San Diego. Xander Bogaerts, who is a really good shortstop, he's on a COVID list. You got Rafael Devers, Hunter Renfroe, J.D. Martinez, Bobby Dalton are all hitting home runs. They're like the Yankees of old with Mickey Mantle and Roger Maris and Moose Skowron. They're hitting a ton of home runs, and they may just be able to win their division by hitting everyone. Number 10, I got the Oakland Athletics. They're falling behind a little bit. They're barely number 10. They're just an eke a little bit in front of Toronto, which is really failing also, even with 2 exceptional young players, 3 young players really. So, I don't want to go past that because the rest of the teams are all, 40, they're even money or they're just losing a few games or they're not playing 500 balls. Cincinnati, outside of that, has probably got the best team that's got a shot, even though they're behind Milwaukee. Joey Votto was hitting like an MVP that he was several years ago, but he can't carry the team. Cincinnati's playing well, but they don't. They're just not there. San Diego is just what's happened. to them is terrible. They got Yu Darvish, who I think someone paid, the Cubs paid $50 million just to sign him before they paid his salary. Somebody from Japan. Blake Snell, dominant Cy Young Award winner, used to play for Tampa. Both of these guys are in a pooper. They can't play. They can't pitch with a darn. So go figure that. I go all the way down to my Angels, which are at number 19. Ohtani, watched the game the other day. They were up on the Yankees.
Yeah.
He was at third base. There was a play. There was a little bobble by the second baseman of the Yankees, and Ohtani took off. It startled everyone. The throw to the plate was late. He stole home base. You know, the guy's incredible. He's still winning games. His ERA is around 3, striking out a ton of people. He's leading in home runs with stuff like 44 or 43 or something like that. He's an extraordinary player. I think he's done enough to warrant the MVP, but you know, without Mike Trout there, the Angels have got an upward climb. They're not going anywhere this year, but next year I hope to see them do better. That's it in a nutshell. But one other thing I got to say for all you gambling guys out there, this is the last week of Saratoga. Better get your bets in. Last weekend with the Travers Stakes, they gave away $5.1 million in purses to see some of the best horses race. I didn't miss it. I watched every race. They handled $51 million on that day. All sites throughout the country and throughout the world. It's an incredible amount of money. Anyway, Saratoga is going to be gone in a week, guys. So if you want to get your jollies, go out and watch them. Thank you, Daniel.
Yeah, that coming from Papa Joe. And PJ said that my Diamondbacks weren't the worst in the nation. And guess what?
Let me look, Daniel.
They're not.
Hold it.
They're not. They're 40.5 games back. Baltimore's 42.5. So I have to say, I thought my team was the worst, but as of right now by record, you are right. They are not the worst team in as far as trying in games back, 40.5 in the NL West to the Orioles 42.5 in the American League East. How about this? In the National League West, the Dodgers in first, the Giants a half a game back, but then the Padres are 14 back, the Rockies 23.5, the Diamondbacks 40.5. If you put those three teams together, they are a combined 78 games back together. I mean, what are your thoughts on the fact that the Padres, the Rockies, and the Diamondbacks are all 14 or worse behind the Giants and the Dodgers in that division?
Well, there's two comments I have to make on that. Number one, San Diego was not supposed to do this year. You've heard me harp on this. With Fernando Tatis leading the hitting parade and 2 Cy Young Award winners, and they can't win, and they're 14 games behind, that shows you how good LA and Giants are playing. I said several weeks ago that the NL pennant will go through the West Division. And between the Giants and the LA, they're both extraordinary teams. They both have hitting and defense. And LA should be able to prevail because they have better pitching. So it's a combination of LA and Giants being so much better than the other teams, but San Diego performing so poorly.
Yeah, it's an interesting thing as we take a look at this. But as of this morning, for the first time I feel like all season, my Arizona Diamondbacks are not the team that's behind by the most. So, yay me. PJ, final note here. The Jacksonville Jaguars, Urban Meyer got himself in some potential murky water when the roster cuts were made to 53. And some people were saying that it had to do with COVID vaccinations and the vaccination status. Jacksonville sent me an email yesterday as a member of the media covering the Jaguars for over a decade now, and this is their official release regarding roster and any COVID connections. Quote, availability is one of the many factors taken into account when making roster decisions. We have vaccinated and unvaccinated players on our roster, and no player was released because of their vaccination status. Ultimately, decisions are based on a player's ability to help the Jaguars win. We educate our players and respect personal decisions as it pertains to the vaccine. We want to keep our players, staff, and families safe as we comply with protocols related to both healthy health and safety and competition on game days. So the Jaguars saying, hey, yes, we made cuts, but any connection to someone being cut and then being unvaccinated, that's not why we did it. What are your thoughts?
I think everyone played that game this time, Daniel, and Urban got caught, I guess. It's not a healthy situation, but if I'm not mistaken, one of the Jaguars is on COVID, and I think it's A.J. Cann.
Yeah.
It says reserve COVID list.
Yeah.
So, I don't know where Urban's coming with that, but Urban will take chances, and he's going to have to be a little bit smarter. He better check with his GM or Khan before he starts doing these kind of deals, though.
Yeah, it's just it's a very weird time in today's world, and Urban Meyer had made some comments here and there, but Jacksonville clarifying, saying, hey, listen, yes, you want a guy to be available, and no, it has nothing to do with whether or not they're vaccinated. So that's where we stand right now. The Jaguars released the official statement, and we'll have to move forward from here. This is my thing why I said I'm up in the air about Urban, because I want him to win, which he has, but he also sometimes makes me wonder where his head's at, where he's at. So we'll see as we go, but I appreciate it. If you know nothing else, know that Jameis Winston will be within an hour of Papa Joe on September 12th. So the day that they could finally meet and get some shrimp together, or, dare I say it, crab legs at Publix.
No, there's no shot of me meeting Jameis, but I wish him luck. I've said what I'm only going to say about Jameis. He's got to be smarter, so let's see how smart he's going to be against Green Bay.
Yeah, we'll see as we go. PJ, as always, I appreciate you. I thank you. 4 Syracuse players coming up here in just a moment, but not before I bid adieu for today's broadcast to one of the greatest people that God's ever made, a father figure to so many of us, and somebody who makes me a proud meatball every day. PJ, I love you.
Thank you, Dave. I love you too, buddy.
Take care. That coming from Papa Joe with Mary in the background, and much love to Miss Mary T as well. So we are going to take a step aside for a fast break. When we come back, the Jacksonville Jaguar conversation and MLB conversation has concluded, and we now shift to a fantastic half hour that I have for you left with, and I say fantastic because I'm so excited to have these gentlemen grace the stage of Wake Up Call, and that will be the 4 Syracuse players that we have for you today as we continue game week and the official start to the season. Defensive lineman, Kingsley Jonathan. Fullback, Chris Elmore. Cornerback, Garrett Williams. And running back, Cooper Lutz. Will be on Wake Up Call right after this. In these unique times, there are those in our community that give us a sense of normalcy and positivity. Pizza Man on 50 Oswego Street in Baldwinsville has been here for you for over 35 years and is here now. Call 315-638-1234 or order online at pizzamanbville.com to bring those familiar tastes into your home. And remember to come see our monthly on-site broadcasts centered around the community and our Baldwinsville beats. Pizza Man in Baldwinsville. Any way you slice it, they are always here for you.
This is Jimmer Sikowski, owner-operator of Chick-fil-A Cicero, 7916 Brewerton Road in Cicero, right in front of the Home Depot. I had a deep feeling that God wanted me to do something bigger with my life and to help people, help others. I kept putting Chick-fil-A in my life, and I realized as I was going through the franchise selection process that positively impacting the lives of others was really core to what we do here at Chick-fil-A. First of all, it starts with the food. The food is brought in fresh daily. We bring in local produce. We prepare to order in the kitchen. We hand bread our chicken. We hand spin our milkshakes. It's great food. It doesn't taste like fast food. I think the second thing is the way people feel when they come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. It's different. We try to treat people with intentional kindness here, which is very different and deeper than good customer service. And so I think it feels remarkable for most people to come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. And then lastly, the impact that we try to have in the community is very different. It's a big part of the expectation of every operator of a Chick-fil-A restaurant is that they're actively engaged in their community, they're a leader in the community, and they're making a difference. When they realize that what we're striving to do is to shine a little light in their life, that's a very, very different experience than you will have in any other quick service restaurant. And it's that remarkable experience that I think people will emotionally connect with.
I'm George Townsend of Honda City with some good advice when buying a new car. The true cost of owning a new car is determined by the appraised value when you trade it. No vehicle appraises higher than a Honda. Next, look for low APRs and deep discounts. You also want low maintenance costs and great fuel economy. That's why my advice to you is to buy a new Honda. Looking pre-owned, visit our Honda Certified Used Car Center. Honda City, 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard, Liverpool, or HondaCity-CNY.com.
It would be a pity if you don't shop at Honda City.
Our corporate purpose at Chick-fil-A is to glorify God by being faithful stewards of all that's entrusted to us and to positively influence all those who come in contact with Chick-fil-A. And what became increasingly clear from our success in Cicero is that people love Chick-fil-A. And also I think we recognized that, we had a great opportunity to grow the brand and grow our platform. I felt incredibly grateful when I was selected to be a Chick-fil-A operator. I think what it's meant for me, what I've come to realize on a very deep level is that this is a calling for me. It's not a career. It's not a job. The Lord called me to be a Chick-fil-A operator and to use these restaurants to glorify Him and to positively influence other people. I'm blessed. I'm very blessed.
Head to Chick-fil-A Clay on 3974 State Route 31 in Liverpool, New York. Welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora on wakeupcalldt.com, your one-stop sports shop, and on mixlr.com/wakeupcalldt inside of the Cafe Kubal studios. You're also watching here on Facebook.com/wakeupcalldt, Facebook.com/live-now-DT, and on YouTube.com/wakeupcalldt. So proud to have you here with us. Thanks for hanging out where sports truly meets that thing called life inside of these Cafe Kubal studios. And Cafe Kubal located for you all across central and upstate New York on 3501 James Street, 343 Fayette Street in Manlius, New York, 3501 James Street, as well as 401 South Salina Street, 208 North Townsend Street, and inside of Galisano's Children's Hospital. And you can find your way to their newest location, which is their first ever drive-through location on the corner of Route 11 and Taft Road in North Syracuse, New York at Sweetheart Corners. And I thank Cafe Kubal for all you do. They have their cold brew in the can ready to go. They have local products inside of there. They have their treats, their chocolate chip cookies, chocolate banana bread, and all the good stuff. And, of course, they have their coffee bags to go. So there's so many ways to interact with Cafe Kubal. And if you're me, you're going out there. So whether it's hot, whether it's iced, the chai is always so good at Cafe Kubal. So make sure you make your way out there today for that and so much more. And, of course, their coffees and everything that they offer at Cafe Kubal. In hour number 2, inside of MonPazPopcorn.com's What's Poppin', it's time to get into my conversations with these 4 Syracuse players as we are officially in week 1 of the 2021-2022 college football season for Syracuse. Game week, I have been featuring my audio and video Q&As with players as well as head coach Dino Babers, and it's time to continue that conversation. And we'll start things off with Kingsley Jonathan, defensive end, who made the decision to come back to Syracuse. This is what Kingsley had to say when I had the opportunity to speak with him going into the season.
Kingsley, the relationship with Josh Black on and off the field, just what you can say about the bond that you guys have created and taking that walk like you had spoken about before, thinking it was the last time and knowing that you have one more ride with Josh Black out there.
Yeah, it was the last one, as I mentioned. I was very emotional for everyone that was in it. So for me and Black, we've had this relationship for a long time. We've been through a lot of coaches, been through a lot of systems. We ride to practice every day together. Today we rode together over here. So we have that, relationship that we can talk to each other and tell each other things. Okay, what are you thinking about this? And that relates very, very well on the field. So I can come up to him and say, okay, this happened. And he can be like, oh yeah, what do we see here? What do we see here? We have that kind of repertoire that we can just understand. Sometimes we don't need to talk to each other. We know what each other's thinking. So those are some of the things that I feel like we translate very well on the field.
What's the best thing that he's taught you up to this point?
That's a lot of things we feel like pass on to each other. Thankful for in particular. And I'll go back to that.
Okay.
Kingsley Jonathan, and I know it's a little bit lower here on your feeds here, and this will be shared on YouTube right after the show. But Kingsley Jonathan saying that he knows Josh Black so well that they can essentially read each other's minds. And the decision for both of them to come back on this line, as I've talked about, this could be the most veteran, most experienced line that Syracuse has had since they've had the likes of like the Jay Bromleys of the world and the lines that Tim Doust put together when he was a defensive line coach here. So a lot of respect to the fact that Josh Black, Kingsley Jonathan, McKinley Williams all here on the team and deciding to come back and to play together in that 3-3-5 as the three gentlemen you will see up front to be a terror, hopefully, to the offenses all across the country that they face. Next up, somebody who's been a terror and somebody who's been a Swiss Army knife. He's been all over the place. Chris Elmore has dang near played every single position on the field for Syracuse. He's been on the O-line, the D-line, and now he's back at fullback, but also marked on the depth chart as a tight end. Here's my man, Rhino, and what he has to say.
Well, Chris, outside of playing quarterback and kicker at this point, you played all over the field. Just what you can say about being a Swiss Army knife and be used where Dino needs you.
That kind of speaks to my character. Just always been a team first type of guy, and just looking out for others. And I have no problem with playing other positions. That's kind of like how I grew up, just playing different positions, playing both sides of the field. And it was actually fun to get to do it in college, but now it's back to fullback. So.
And what can you say about the backfield, kind of as a quick follow-up, knowing that you have some of the guys back in the stable, you have Josh Huff coming in, and guys that stepped up last year too?
I love our backfield. Tuck is up for the best running back award, which is a credit to what he did last year, and then having Jarvion do it back, it just makes the backfield that much better. And I'm expecting at least 2,000-yard backs this year.
Expecting at least 2 1,000-yard backs this year. And I've said it, I've said it repeatedly, Syracuse has to run the rock. You're going to hear Cooper Lutz and I talk about it here in a second too. But they got to run the rock. And for people that think, well, it's impossible for Syracuse to have a 1,000-yard back, these guys are, they're crazy. They're on drugs. It's not true. Well, I put it to you like this. You have Sean Tucker, who could have gotten there last year, I think. You have Sean Tucker, you got Cooper Lutz, you have Abdul Adams, you have Jarvion Howard, and you have Josh Huff. All 5 of these guys pushing each other, somebody should get to 1,000 yards. This should be this should be a 1,000-yard back season. It should be. If they had used Mo Neal correctly, he could have potentially gotten there. They haven't had one since 2012. They had 2, if you count all-purpose. Jerome Smith had 1,000 yards at least on the ground. Prince Tyson Gully had 1,000 cumulatively as like the check down king for Ryan Nassib on the team. So he had a bunch of rushing yards plus receiving yards that got him over 1,000. So you had two running backs on the team that had at least 1,000 yards all purpose. Jerome Smith had over 1,000 on the ground. That was 2012. It's 2021. It's been almost a decade. You got 5 backs. Run the dang rock. You know what it is. So don't think Chris Elmore's crazy. Syracuse they just need to run the ball. And I got another one in with Chris Elmore. This is what he had to say.
Chris, what you guys had to go through for the last 18 months, really not having a college life and having to stay in somewhat of a bubble and go through that process. No fans, family couldn't be here. Just how you handled all of that mentally, because obviously mental toughness is part of the game, but you learned a different mental toughness this year.
Right. I think for me personally, it was a step back. It was a sit down moment for me, and just me realizing like everything that's important in life. Just from being in quarantine. I was in quarantine with family members who I hadn't seen in over X amount of years. Just dialing back to reality and just humbling myself. And I feel like I didn't look at the pandemic as like a minus. I looked at it as a plus because everybody got the chance to sit down, dial in with family members that they haven't seen in a long time. Like, just really sit down and think, like take a pause on life and just think about yourself and how you can better yourself. That's how I looked at it.
People taking time together to better themselves, to better their lives. I love this. The people had time to sit down, dial in, unwind, be around people that they love, figure things out, work on stuff, work on themselves. It's imperative. It's important. It's crucial. I hope you did it. If you haven't, I hope you start. If you have, I hope you continue. We'll take a step aside, speaking of continuing, with Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside the Cafe Kubal studios. Plenty more coming up right after this, including my conversations with cornerback Garrett Williams, the first ever player to pick six Trevor Lawrence in his college football career. Trevor Lawrence had never thrown an interception return for a touchdown until Garrett Williams grabbed the ball from the air that came from the hand of Trevor Lawrence last season in Clemson in Death Valley and took it to the house. So Garrett Williams will be talking with us right after this fast break. And, of course, we'll be joined by Cooper Lutz as well on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports meets life. I'm so happy to have you here, and I thank you so much for being a part of the broadcast of Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. You're amazing. You're awesome. I appreciate you, and I thank you.
Cafe Kubal Mobile Cafe brings the cafe experience to you. We'll roll out to your neighborhood or office, ready to serve our locally crafted espresso bar to our loyal patrons. Inquire at cafekubal.com. Cafe Kubal, coffee for the soul.
This is Amy from Mother's Cupboard, home of the whole frittata. We are open daily 6 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. For takeout orders, call 315-432-0942 and tune in to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora for our monthly food challenge and try our Wake Up Call signature menu item available 7 days a week. Here at Mother's Cupboard, we are Central New York, and it's our honor to serve you.
Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory, located on 201 7th North Street in Liverpool, is home to over 40 flavors with more than 200 flavors in their total wheelhouse. Sky's the limit for this sweet and savory Central New York company. Keep it local at your parties, fundraisers, wedding showers, baby showers, and more by calling 315-450-MA-PA. That's 315-450-6272 for popcorn bars with custom flavors and colors at your upcoming event. Make sure to visit them on 201 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York. And for more information, go to maandpazsnacks.com. Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory. How corny are you?
Here at Progressive Dental, we understand the importance of regular dental visits and preventive care. Cleanings and checkups are essential to good oral health. We have multiple locations in the Southern Tier, so come visit us in Binghamton, Enwell, Kirkwood, Montrose, and Norwich. For self-pay non-insured patients, we offer the Smile Plan, which covers all of your cleanings, x-rays, and exams for an affordable yearly price. Call 607-754-2273 or 607-754-CARE to make an appointment today. For more information, visit our website at progressivedentalny.com.
Millhouse Market, located on 3790 New York 13 in Pulaski, New York, is worth the drive every single time. Make sure you make your way out there and download their app on the Google Play or Apple App Store today so you have everything at your fingertips. Their entire menu, the ingredients, everything that's in the menu is right there for you at the Millhouse Market app. Contactless pay on the app. You could tip on the app, and you can get maps to where you need to, from wherever you are, you can get directions to the Millhouse Market right on the app. You literally don't have to open up like Google Maps and this and that and this and that, whatever. No, you go to the Millhouse Market app on Google Play or the Apple App Store. You download it. You have the menu. You have contactless pay. You have the ability to tip. You have a map you can click on to get directions to the Millhouse Market from wherever you are. And once you put your order in, it gives you an approximate to the minute time that your food should be ready to go. What more could you ask for? Well, a great product. They have fantastic salads, as well as homemade desserts, breads, quinoa bowls, rice bowls, brick oven pizzas, and sandwiches named after the families to help settle today's Pulaski. The only problem you're going to have when it comes to the Millhouse Market is not being able to figure out what you're going to order. And if you're like me, you order something that you eat now, and then you take the other thing home. Their desserts are fantastic. Their pizzas are incredible. And the first Saturday of every single month, which includes this Saturday, September 4th, is buy one, get one brick oven pizza. So you know where your boy's going on game day, and I'll be out there at the Millhouse Market. So make sure you make your way out there Tuesday through Saturday from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. and on Sundays from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. The Millhouse Market, 3790 New York 13 in Pulaski, New York. Worth the drive every single time. And a big shout out to our newest partner, the Lemoyne Dolphins. Lemoyne Dolphins, they're for you in Syracuse, New York, right off of Erie Boulevard. You can go up there and see their games. They're back in action after almost 2 years of being off the fields and courts of life. They're back at it with women and men's cross country as well as women and men's soccer. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday to start off September are in action, on site, on location at Lemoyne College. And Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora and Dan Tortora Broadcast Media are proud to be the first ever multimedia marketing partner of Lemoyne College, working very closely with the athletics department, and we'll be doing a bunch of incredible things that I'm very excited about this upcoming season and beyond. And those things including the Dolphin Dive, which is a monthly sit-down where we get to feature student-athletes, administration, coaches from Lemoyne College. And we also do AD and DT, where Bob Beretta, the Director of Athletics, on site at Lemoyne College, and I will be sitting down speaking on a bunch of different topics, and so you'll have to stay tuned every single month to find out what the Dolphin Dive and AD and DT have for you. And you know that Wake Up Call is now the first stop for all information coming out of Lemoyne College, and very, very much looking forward to bringing you breaking stories as they happen, as well as creating stories for you with Lemoyne as their multimedia marketing partner. We appreciate them being here. We appreciate people from all over the country that make the decision to come to Lemoyne, and we thank Lemoyne for being in our backyard and doing so much to not only build up our athletes on the fields and courts of life, but in the classroom as well, and through this very tough last 18 months. All I have to say to you folks is from me to you, my heart to yours. Fins up. Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora here with you inside of the Cafe Kubal studios, having a good time inside of our conversations as we get ready for week 1 of college football for the Syracuse Orange Football team. It's game week. I can't believe I'm saying it, but I'm saying it. It's game week. And you just heard from Kingsley Jonathan and Chris Elmore. You're going to hear from Garrett Williams, cornerback on the team, as well as running back Cooper Lutz in just a moment. Here where sports meets life on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside of the Cafe Kubal studios. Cafe Kubal, 3501 James Street, 401 South Salina Street, 208 North Townsend Street, all in Syracuse, inside of Golisano's Children's Hospital in downtown Syracuse, and on 343 Fayette Street in Manlius, in their giant behemoth of a brown-striped building, which is literally where all the roads converge to welcome you into Manlius, and their newest location and first ever, and I'm so happy it finally happened, drive-through location on the corner of Route 11 and Taft Road in North Syracuse. So a lot of great things happening with Cafe Kubal. Make your way out there today. And there's so many awesome things coming up this week and a lot of special releases that Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora is going to have even outside of our normal scheduled 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. broadcasting hours Monday through Friday. So stay tuned to the end of this show because I got a lot of things that I'm going to be releasing and I want to make sure that you hear them first. You can find us on Facebook at Wake Up Call DT, the Twitter at Call DT, and Instagram at wakeupcall_DT. Obviously on youtube.com/wakeupcallDT where you're watching right now, and on wakeupcalldt.com. So, with that being stated, it is time to get into my one-on-one conversation, split into 2 parts with Mr. Garrett Williams. Here we go.
So just what you can say about me is finally week 1, finally this game that you've been waiting for. Just what your thoughts are going through your head knowing that you're going to get to hit something else now.
Just excitement. It's been a long time. It's been basically a year since we got to play against somebody else. That's not us. We have a fresh slate, new season. So I think everybody's just really excited to get out there and change the narrative around Syracuse football right now.
And what do you think this team can change the narrative to?
Winning team bowl game. That's the expectation here. We got a lot of good players on this team, and I feel like we're gonna really come together and show everybody what we're about now.
You lose guys like Cisco and Iffy as well as a Trill, but you have all the talent that you're bringing back and guys like yourself and Jihad and Rob, just what that means that you guys stepped up last year when you had to due to injuries, and now you have that experience.
Yeah, so I feel like it comes with experience of just working with one another. Because, last year we were kind of forced to just come together without really it being the plan. And so having a full year, knowing that Rob, Jihad, everybody's going to be right beside me, it's easier to kind of get used to seeing how we're going to play off one another in certain situations and things like that. So it's going to be really fun to see us work together.
I know you don't have Trevor this year, but Trevor Lawrence, you made history, the first pick 6 that he ever threw in college. Just to build off of things like that, I know last season wasn't the record that you wanted, but those wins, those individual wins, just what those mean to you and what it means as you try to mature and be better on this team.
Any individual award or thing that happens to me in a good way individually is always going to mean a lot to me just because I know how much work I put in to this just to be in this position. So I must always celebrate the little things, even if it's not necessarily team-wise. For me, I know I need to celebrate those little things for me to keep me going and keep being positive.
That coming from Garrett Williams saying, I need those little things to keep me going, keep me being positive. Those little wins mean something. Some people say, I don't care about them. They don't matter. It's not a big deal. But it is a big deal. It is important. It does matter. Those little wins are crucial. Those little wins do keep you going. On a 1-10 season, there's a lot of positives when you're like, hey, I got the first pick 6 ever in the history of Trevor Lawrence's collegiate career. That's big. In a 1-10 season, it's really big to lean on and say, okay, something to build off of, something to go off of, glass half full, finding the good. So I appreciate that Garrett Williams is appreciating those moments. And here is more from Garrett Williams in our one-on-one conversation.
You looked at the Dome and not having fans, but with the fans in there now, just what you can say about the Dome itself and all the upgrades to it. And do you catch yourself looking up at the lights and kind of those giant screens and everything that you have there?
Yeah, the lights are really bright. When you look up, you might get a little dazed for a second. It's cool to see it, though, because my freshman year when I got here, we had fans and things like that, but I wasn't playing, so I didn't get the full experience of it. So I'm really excited to be able to play my first real game in the Dome with the new stadium and the fans behind it. I think I'm really excited. I think it's going to be just fun.
And then the front line of this defense, obviously, to help you guys out, bringing back veteran status, really for the first time in a long time to have guys that have had this much time in, like McKinley Williams, as well as Josh Black and Kingsley Jonathan, just what they mean to you knowing that they'll be up front.
It means a lot because they know what they're doing. They obviously the most experienced room on the team, so their leadership, because they've seen it all from the good to the bad, so their leadership as we go through the season, from the ups and the downs throughout the season, is going to be easy for them to keep us level-headed. And also when it comes to just technically, they know everything in the book, so they're going to be able to make a lot of plays. So obviously when the D-line's making plays, it does nothing but help the secondary as well, so it's going to be fun to play off one another.
You've seen the quarterbacks, just what you can say about Garrett Schrader and Tommy DeVito going here. Dino said 3 weeks ago he wanted somebody to take the job, and he said to us last week that we'll see them both. So what can you say about both guys?
I think both of them are going to help the team out a lot in their own different ways. I feel like Schrader's an incredible athlete. Tommy's a very slept-on athlete as well, too, and they're both really good passers. Tommy's timing is second to none. I feel like he's an elite passer.
Who's challenged you the most in practice?
Obviously, it's going to be Taj. Anthony Quilly, me and him have been going back and forth the whole camp, too. And freshman Rondé Gadsden's really good as well, and I'm excited to see him play a lot.
We saw Sherrod Johnson, too. He's waited his turn for a while here. He's at the top of the depth chart as one of the starting receivers. Why?
He adds a different dimension to the offense. Sherrod has true track speed, and when you see Sherrod on the outside, you know that you have to be ready to run. So when you have a guy like that who can stretch the field at any time, even our defense as well, like as soon as you see Sherrod in, automatically, okay, playing over top. So it just opens up everything for the offense for now. Sherrod can clear things out for Taj, AQ, Courtney, Luke, anybody,
And you mentioned Rondé, just what you could say, because he's a true freshman, what you've seen from him.
Rondé has amazing hands, really natural hands, and a really good route. He's a really, really good route runner. If you saw him from a distance, you definitely want to think that he's a true freshman. So I'm excited to see him get his opportunity because I really think he's going to make the most of it.
And coming from Garrett Williams, talking about the guys, Sherrod Johnson, that was one of the things that, apparently a lot of people when they saw the depth chart said, how is this happening? How did Sherrod end up being one of the guys that were, that's a starter at wide receiver in one of the 3 receiver spots on the depth chart going into the Week 1 game at Ohio, and he just talked about him, talked about the threat that he could be and what he could do, and Rondé Gadsden, even though he's a true freshman, saying, hey, you watch him out there, he doesn't look like a true freshman. So let's hope that Syracuse has these weapons. Let's hope that they can utilize them because the defense has been trying and trying and trying and trying and trying and I think trying to help out the offense, and the offense has sputtered. But they got weapons. They've had weapons. They lost weapons. They lost Aaron Hackett. They lost Nykeem Johnson, 2 of my guys, and here are weapons once again. So the guys have stepped up, and now it's time to show themselves and showcase this. I think that this offense can have some pretty game-changing, explosive players, and it's about bringing it into fruition, having the right quarterback, protecting that quarterback, and getting the ball out to them and letting them go to work. So I'm excited to see what's going to happen. One of those weapons, Cooper Lutz, here with us today on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. He'll be joining the show right after this fast break. Avicoli's, located on the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road in Liverpool, New York, has been your neighbor for decades, right down the road from Liverpool High School, within walking distance of Liverpool High School. Want to thank all that they do at Avicoli's for the community, for our student athletes, for all of us. And through the last 18 months, they've been incredible to us, and you have been incredible to them, and I want to thank you truly for that. And I know from the bottom of their heart, they want to thank you for showing up and being, just going and grabbing a slice, and how much that has meant to Avicoli. So thank you for doing that. Tuesday through Sunday, they are open for you for lunch, dinner, and drinks on the casual pizza side, the fine dining side, the bar, and the outdoor dining. And you can also get in touch with them at 315-622-5100 for takeout, delivery, and catering. That is takeout, delivery, catering. Once again, 315-622-5100, and go to myavocolis.com where you can order online as well, as I did just a little bit ago here. MyAvocolis, AVICOLLIS.com. And Avocolis, thank you for being the proud partner of Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where we feature our Liverpool Warriors monthly shows. Canine Camp Dog Daycare and Canine Campground Dog Boarding has the endorsement of Lily, and really, what more do you need? But if you need more information, I'm happy to give it. Canine Camp Dog Daycare, 228 Old Bridge Street in East Syracuse, right by BJ's Wholesale Club on the other side of the street, over the hill and down. You'll find it there at 228 Old Bridge Street in East Syracuse. Canine Camp Dog Daycare, there for you for dog daycare as well as grooming, and they have a store to pick up food and different things you may need for your furry-loving friends. You can call them at 315-437-7110 for more information for the daycare. That's 315-437-7110. Canine Campground Dog Boarding, located on 242 Johnson Street in East Syracuse, is right around the road from the daycare, and you can get in touch with them by calling 315-299-4013 to reserve a cabin for your dog today. Every single dog at the campground gets their own cabin. Some of them have TVs, all of them have beds. Their food will be in there, so no one will be eating their food or drinking their water. And if they would like to socialize with other dogs, they can do that inside and outside. And if they want to keep to themselves, well, then they have their own little area there in the lodging that there's there for each of the dogs that are at Canine Campground Dog Boarding. It's beautiful. It's like being in a hotel. You can go to the common area or you can stay in your room. I love it. I think it's amazing, and I love the treatment that Lorraine as well as Heather, Chad, and the team bring to each of our dogs. So thank you for all that you do for our community and beyond at Canine Camp Dog Daycare and Canine Campground Dog Boarding. PB&J's Lunchbox is the food truck you've chased all over Central and Upstate New York, and now that flavor, when you're craving it, you can chase it down every Monday through Saturday in their brick and mortar location. This is one of the greatest news pieces ever given to Central and Upstate New York when it comes to food, is you love a food truck, and that food truck now has a cafe at 663 Old Liverpool Road in Liverpool, New York, home of the award-winning grilled peanut butter and jelly sandwich, as well as their fantastic grilled cheeses, barbecue chicken quesadillas, their breakfast, and so much more. Open Monday through Saturday from 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. They are centrally located minutes from the highway, the Thruway, Destiny USA, and Onondaga Lake Parkway. Head out to PB&J's Lunchbox on 663 Old Liverpool Road in Liverpool, New York. What's in your lunchbox? Victory Sports Medicine and Orthopedics, located on 791 West Genesee Street in Skaneateles, New York, is minutes from beautiful Skaneateles Lake, and they're there to help you with your injury from head to toe, be it for preventative care, rehab, physical therapy, or laser therapy, as well as surgery. Victory Sports Medicine and Orthopedics has many different avenues to take, depending on your injury and depending on how you need to recover. They understand that each victory is different and each step is different, and they do something that I appreciate by listening, caring, and talking you through the process. They're second to none when it comes to something like that, in really, really caring and listening to their patients. Victory Sports Medicine and Orthopedics is open for you to give them a call today about your injury at 315-685-7544. That's 315-685-7544. With that being stated, here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, inside of the Cafe Kubal Studios, it's time to rock and roll with Cooper Lutz, our final conversation of the day, as we are fully in game week for Syracuse football, who will be on the road at Ohio, and conversations all throughout this week here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora to prep you for that as we head in to this college football season. Final up inside of MonPazPopcorn.com's What's Poppin' is Cooper Lutz. As you listen to him, order your kettle corn and have it sent out to wherever you are in Central and Upstate New York, as well as have it sent out to you in any one of the 50 states by going to MonPazPopcorn.com and get 20% off by using my promo code DT20. That is DT20 at MonPazPopcorn.com. You need to have your popcorn ready for the upcoming game, and you could do that right now by heading to MonPazPopcorn.com. And as we get everything set here with the conversation with Cooper Lutz, do want to make a note that Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, you can get us all the time by going to Facebook at Wake Up Call DT, Twitter at Call DT, and Instagram at Wake Up Call _DT. We appreciate everyone that has done that is connected with us where sports truly meets that thing called life on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. So with that being said, here is Cooper Lutz. Tortora here with Cooper Lutz, and Cooper, happy to be here with you and happy to come off of last season and obviously see you get some action out there. Just what you can say about the fact that going into the year, maybe 4th or 5th on the depth chart and you just worked your way up.
Yeah, so I'm extremely grateful for the opportunity that I was given last season. Obviously, it was a kind of like out of the blue. I switched the position and then just getting there and working my way up the depth chart. And just trying to go out every day and just better myself. So it's a pretty cool experience.
Can you speak to, when you found out that Abdul Adams and Jarvion Howard weren't coming back, just how that maybe shifted things? Did it feel like it was like an immediate, I need to go help over here? Or
I actually got moved in the spring. So before COVID and everything and all that, we had like 3 practices. So coming into fall camp, I knew I was there in the running back room already. But you go in there with like a whole different expectation. There's 2 more running backs in front of you. You're going to see very little reps in practice, and then you get shifted to being like in a position where you're running behind like the 2 offensive line, and then just making plays from there.
For you, when you came in to potentially play a different role, because I remember going through recruitment, seeing that you could be on either side, offense or defense, did you have a preference when you came in?
Yeah, I think I always wanted to play running back, but I came here with the intention of playing slot receiver. I had the intention of my running back skills transitioning to receiver, and it didn't work out that way. So I'm thankful that I'm back at running back.
Was there ever a chance that you could have gone defensively at all? Or?
I got recruited here to play offense, so
yeah.
I don't think they were looking at me to play defense. But
so you get the opportunity at running back, and when you find out and Sean Tucker finds out, hey, there's Jarvion and Abdul aren't going to play this season, and you guys had that opportunity to step up and find your place. Did you work with him a lot? Did you kind of just talk to each other and say, hey, listen, there's not a lot of guys behind those guys, so we're going to have to make something work?
Yeah, so Tuck was new last year. I barely knew him before he got here because we had COVID. We were all in different pods or whatever until the fall camp started. So immediately we had to become close and we had to start helping each other out because we were learning, both like trying to still learn the running back position. So
you getting into the running back position and getting into that room, how long did it take you to get comfortable?
I'd say once I got out there the first week or so, it's just like you start seeing things that were familiar before, and it's kind of like riding a bike.
Now, Marlo Wax, as a linebacker, he was recruited where he could have played running back as well. What are your thoughts on him and the fact that, like you said, you came in and could have played a different position? There are guys that kind of shift and find their place. What does Marlo bring to the team, and do you like the fact that he could be a guy hitting you in practice?
Yeah, Marlo's a funny guy. He's also an excellent player. He actually just got a single digit, so that's big time for him. Now I'm happy he's on defense because it'll just better me every single day. Just a great player and a great person.
Can you go into that a little bit for the people that don't know how important the single digit is?
Yeah, so single digits at Syracuse, Coach Favors has to approve them, and it's like they're earned. They aren't just nobody can just have them like that.
So which one did he get?
2.
2.
Yeah.
So we'll see Marlo Wax in 2 this year.
Yeah.
Now for you, Cooper, seeing the room come back, seeing Abdul and Jarvion, and obviously Sean and yourself, and then Josh Huff come in from Beaverton, Pennsylvania. What does this running back room look like to you from your perspective?
Yeah, so obviously we have a lot of guys with game experience. I mean, we can all go, and I think it's definitely going to be a strength of our offense. It's going to have to be if we're going to want to win the amount of games that we want to win. So just everybody has to come out, and anytime you're in the game, you got to make the most of it.
I believe on the road last year at South Bend, you had that big-time play in Notre Dame. You're going to have that.
that forever. Can you bring me into that moment?
Yeah, so it's just a great experience all around. We had very little amount of games that we had actual fans at, and I was fortunate enough to have my parents there and my family. So it was that just made it all that much better. But doing something so great there was awesome.
Bring me into the play.
Yeah, so it was just ISO to the left, and I just we ran that play maybe 3 times in a row. I just popped it right to the right. The linebackers just overflowed it. I think their corner fell down and just took it to the crib.
When you look at a moment like that, obviously the season didn't end the way that you wanted to last year, but to be one of the players to go into South Bend and to score on Notre Dame, I mean, that's got to be something that's going to sit in your wheelhouse forever, I would imagine.
Yeah, no, it was awesome to have my first college touchdown be there, and obviously any touchdown, but something that I'll hold and cherish forever.
So you had your first college touchdown there. What are your thoughts about getting to score inside of this dome in front of fans?
Yeah, that'll probably be just as memorable as that. But I'm excited. To get back in there and see everybody going crazy.
What can you say about Garrett Schrader and Tommy DeVito? Dino said 3 weeks ago that we were in a place where he wanted one of them to claim the job. And then last week he said, we're going to see both of them out there. As a running back in this offense, what can you say about the strengths of both of the guys?
Yeah, so obviously they're both great players. Tommy's been in the system for a while. Garrett's still picking it up, but I'm just happy to be out there with either one of them, and anytime they're out there, they're both on go. So,
is there something unique about each of their abilities?
Yeah, I mean, Garrett, as you can see from the SEC, is obviously a big runner and whatnot. Tommy can sling the ball like nobody. So.
And knowing that Garrett can run the ball, he had almost 600 yards rushing back in 2019 and 6 touchdowns on the ground. What does that bring to this offense, knowing what you already have?
Yeah, so it'll just help the run game. I mean, obviously, if he's pulling the ball a lot, they're going to have to worry about him running the ball, not just the running back. So
and for
it'll open up the pass game as well, too.
For your running back room, what is your take on kind of how this thing will balance out? I mean, we look at the depth chart. Sean's there. You're at the 2, and it says or Jarvion Howard. With 5 guys, arguably, that can get out there and do something, how do you see it splitting up? Do you think that you all get to eat, or?
Yeah, so that's what I'm taking away from it. It's like when you're out there, you're just gonna make the most of your opportunities, and evaluations are going to continue to go. But once you're out there, you just got to make the most of your opportunities.
I think that this should be RBU based on the history. You're standing with the Ernie Davis thing behind you here, so I think it's a thing that Syracuse should be utilizing. I selfishly want to see the ball run 20 to 30 times a game. What can you tell me about the expectation of, will there be more balance in your opinion?
Going as in from pass to run.
Pass and run,
So I mean, Coach Babers always talks about how we want to run 100 plays a game. Obviously, we can't be throwing the ball 100 times a game. So we're going to have to, if we're going to run 100 plays, we're going to have to be able to move the chains, and you have to run the football to be able to do that.
The offensive line, Aaron Service has been all over. I call him the grandfather of the line. So seeing him at right tackle, Matt Bergeron at left, and then in the interior are going to be some new faces, Chris Bleich coming up and whatnot, and Jacob Bradford coming in to help out Aaron. How do you see the offensive line? Because obviously they're directly connected to your success.
Yeah, they're a big load of guys. I mean, I love all of them. I mean, they flip around. They'll just so no matter what happens, everybody knows kind of all of the positions up there. So we saw a lot of that going in fall camp and just guys moving around and whatnot. But I think right now we're set on what we got.
And do you feel like there's a starting 5 on that offensive line that can start to become maybe more consistent?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a better question for like Coach Babers, but from what I've seen, I think there's pretty consistently going out there every day. They're looking pretty consistent.
We don't get to see practice, so what can you say about fall camp?
I mean, it was extremely competitive from a running back perspective. We have 5 guys on go, and just when you're out there, you got to make the most of your reps. But yeah, it was extremely competitive. We were banging every day. So,
who pushed you the most, and where did you get better?
I would say just from a mental perspective, and just I'm pretty hard on myself to just make sure I'm locked in all of the time. Especially when I'm not. We will go through team periods, and maybe I'll get 4 or 5 plays, and then we're going like 25 plays. So those other 20 plays, I have to make sure I'm on the calls. I know what the O-line's doing. I see the blitzes. I see the secondary. So just being mentally locked in and just bettering myself.
And Cooper, for the fans, you get to see them finally. What do you want to tell them?
Just come ready to go. I mean, from next week, what's that, Rutgers? We're going to need you guys just as like last year. We didn't have that advantage, but we need a home field advantage this year. Definitely, it'll help us.
That coming from Cooper Lutz here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports meets that thing called life inside of the Cafe Kubal studios. And, the internet would be great if it, in central and upstate New York actually did what it was supposed to do. So I appreciate y'all being here with us and navigating through that, and thank you so much. Shout out to Greg. He said that he sure would love to see establishing a strong running game will most likely lead to wins and produce an effective play-action game. Yeah, you would think. And then Greg said, I know it's early, but wanted to wish you a great Labor Day weekend, DT. Let's go Orange. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Happy Labor Day weekend to you, too. Thank you so much for tuning into the show. God comes to me through numbers, and we have 21 comments here today, and 21 is my favorite number. So big shout out to Papa Joe. Big shout out to Syracuse players, defensive lineman Kingsley Jonathan, fullback Chris Elmore, cornerback Garrett Williams, running back Cooper Lutz. Inside of the Cafe Kubal studios, go out and see Cafe Kubal today at 3501 James Street, 401 South Salina Street, 208 North Townsend Street, where you'll find Kubal Co-works as well. And those are all in Syracuse, as well as inside of Galisanos Children's Hospital. I'll see you out at 343 Fayette Street in Manlius, and at their newest location and first ever drive-through location of Cafe Kubal on the corner of Route 11 and Taft Road in North Syracuse. So, big shout out to the big thanks to Cafe Kubal and all the great people out there. You can find Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora every Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time on Facebook.com/LiveNowDT, Facebook.com/WakeUpCallDT, YouTube.com/WakeUpCallDT, as well as listening on MixLR.com/WakeUpCallDT and on WakeUpCallDT.com's homepage. And make sure you bookmark and subscribe to our website, WakeUpCallDT.com, where everything comes together into one place. And I appreciate everyone that has, as well as those of you that have downloaded Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora's podcast on Stitcher, Spotify, MixLR, YouTube, iTunes, and Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Podbean, and TuneIn. Search Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora today, or just search one word, Wake Up Call DT. Very big thanks to all of our Central and Upstate New York partners, Cafe Kubal, Carvel DeWitt, the Wildcat Sports Pub, Avicoli's, Chick-fil-A Cicero, and Chick-fil-A Clay, Canine Camp Dog Daycare, Millhouse Market, Victory Sports Medicine and Orthopedics, Pizza Man, Honda City of Liverpool, Mother's Cupboard, Progressive Dental, PB&J's Lunchbox, Canine Campground Dog Boarding, and Mon Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory. Go to the website right now and use my promo code DT20 to get 20% off at Mon Pa's for any one of the 50 states. Place your order today, monpaspopcorn.com. Use the promo code DT20. And of course, folks, with our multimedia marketing partnership officially starting yesterday on September 1st, 2021, I am very happy to say, fins up. Lemoyne Dolphins in action this weekend. Come out and see them. Cross country for men's and women's, as well as soccer for men's and women's, happening all the way through this weekend, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, out at Lemoyne College in Syracuse, New York. Fins up, people. So, thank you so much for tuning into the show. So much to come on Friday's broadcast, the Annoying Moment of the Week, brought to you by Carvel DeWitt. as well as Lead, Learn, Evolve, Ad-Lib, and Deliver, brought to you by Chick-fil-A Cicero and Chick-fil-A Clay, with my partner in Lead, Juanita Ward. The top dog of the week brought to you by Canine Camp Dog Daycare and Canine Campground Dog Boarding. And Ross Turetsky will be joining me. It's been a minute. My big time buddy who's out there covering high school football in Northeast PA. He gonna be on the broadcast this Fridays at 10:15 a.m. Eastern Time. And of course, we'll have more Syracuse football talk on Friday. And tomorrow, two huge things are happening. The Light Between Us continues our series with Julia Getman, who joins us from Chick-fil-A Cicero to tell her story of faith. And so that will be a video that'll go out on Facebook at Wake Up Call DT and youtube.com/Wake Up Call DT, shared on Twitter at Call DT, shared on Instagram at Wake Up Call _DT. And so you'll be able to catch all of that. And so that comes up tomorrow. The Light Between Us will air at noon Eastern Time. And then at 2 p.m. Eastern Time, we will be airing my food challenge up against the owner of Mother's Cupboard, Pete Green, as him and I go up against my creation that is only available on site at Mother's Cupboard, chicken and waffles. So not only do we showcase the chicken and waffles, and that we made the chicken and waffles and the everything, the sauce and everything together, Pete and I did in our think tank room. Not only do we make it together, not only do we promote it and support it together, and not only is it only at Mother's Cupboard, but we will face off against each other. The owner versus DT, Pete Green versus Dan Tortora, for the rights to be the Chicken Waffle King. And that'll be coming up tomorrow at 2 p.m. So a lot of awesome things that I can't wait to share with you. God bless you all. No stress. And please do your best. We'll talk soon. Be well.